We are back on the New York State Education Department website in order for us to take a look at the third concept area for this course called Networks and Systems Design. Now, even though we are doing these courses as separate classes and you might be following the order that's on this page, just be aware that you can do these standards in any order or you can combine some of the different concept areas together. But for this course, we are going to focus only on the Networks and Systems Design. So we're going to scroll down to the very first bullet point on your page. That is going to give us a link to a PDF of the standards. I'm going to scroll down until I get to the page that I would like to review, which is page 15 to start. This is the page that you looked at in the last module about networks and systems design that went over what we mean by the different concept area and subconcept areas. Please familiarize yourself with these as we go through and talk about what these standards look like in our classrooms. I'm going to scroll now over to the actual standard pages, which starts on page 29 on this PDF, so that we can dive into the standards. The first sub-concept area for networks and systems design is hardware and software. Really, at the beginning, we're looking at basic input and output. You put information in, what happens to that information when it comes out? And where does it come out? And how does it work? And we're talking about how things are designed in order for us to be able to gather that input or output. The next one down talks about the hardware that we have on our computers. So at the early ages, it's really identifying what is hardware and software, what are the different parts that we use. And then as we progress into the upper grades, we're talking about understanding more of the computer architecture and how it does apply to us in a general society. That one can tie very nicely into impacts of computing. As we scroll down to the next page, we're still on hardware and software, and then we move into networks and the internet. The first one for hardware and software, again, is talking about basic hardware parts, troubleshooting when there's a problem that arises, and then think about how we can help others identify and fix those problems. So if you have a help desk in your school or you run one within your class where you have tech helpers of some sort, you really are covering these standards very well. As we move into networks and the internet, we're going to be talking about the protocols and the rules that we use for things online. We're going to talk about the model of data, designing for protocols, and then think about how things move and are designed online. Finally, our last one is talking about the physical devices that store information, and then moving on to talk about how remote data is stored on the internet, thinking of like your cloud network or something along those lines. The final one, which is my favorite for 9 through 12, is discussing emerging technologies. And here's where you can really bring in some of the new things that are happening. Currently in 2022 into 2023, we're talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning, the Internet of Things, nanotechnologies, our connectivity with 5G. We're really talking about the fact that we're in this fourth industrial revolution as we're moving forward. So it's a really good time to have students examine what technologies are coming and how that is shaping our world. Again, it ties very nicely into the impacts of